The story about death and life. One day, death caught a young soul alone. She was crying inconsolably, non-stop. A few days ago, she lost a very dear person for her grandmother, who had been with her whole life. She supported her, surrounded her with care and love, and now, when her grandmother died, there was nothing left for her soul but to cry, trying to at least slightly relieve the pain that she had in her soul and heart. "Hello, this is the first time I've seen you. Why have you decided to appear? Because I know you usually watch the suffering of people and other souls living on earth from the outside. I will be happy to answer your question, but let me ask you first. How did you know I was here? I felt the cold and the plume of the pain that always haunts you." Interesting description, and I felt that when describing me you would use the words like braid or sinister figure in a cloak. Death smiled. "After all, your earthly and young souls have a completely wrong idea of me. By the way, answering your question, I always watch people. Many of you even believe that they are able to feel my presence and foresee when I come for them. It's true. I'm always there for you." These words, goosebumps ran through the body of the young soul. Why? Does it mean that you came to take me where? From these thoughts, the stomach twisted and the body tightened with the fear, so much that it seemed that, if desired, it could easily fit in the palm of your hand. "Yes, I came to you, but I didn't come for you. Not today. Your time hasn't come yet." From the words of death, the soul's patience came to an end, and she screamed, and tears fell down her cheeks. "Who gave you the right? Who gave you the right to decide when somebody's time comes? How can you do this to us? What bad did we do to you? Why do you always come at the most important moment? Why are you so cruel? You don't have a body, but you cause us so much pain, depriving us of our life, our loved ones, and dear people. Why? Why did you take her? My grandmother could have lived for decades. She hasn't seen so much yet, and now because of you I will never see her again." The voice of the soul broke and calmed down. All she could do was to cry, and death waited patiently, standing on the left side of the young soul, giving her an opportunity to cry. When a few minutes later the soul stopped crying and looked up at the guest, she threw a sad look at her, full of sympathy and tenderness. She didn't have the cruelty or snide green anger that we used to attribute to death. "Do you want to know the truth?" The young soul nodded. There was no strength to speak yet. Death settled on the stone opposite the soul and began its story. "As I said, you young and earthly souls often have a misconception about me. You see me only as a villain, an executioner who takes away the most valuable thing from you, your life, your loved ones. Do you think it's easy to carry this burden? And what to do, I choose myself, who and when to pick up. Am I right? Yes, I think so." There was so much anger in the voice of the young soul, but she didn't consider it necessary to do anything to hide it. "Well, what if I tell you that this decision is made not by me, but by the soul itself?" "What? How is it possible? You're lying. No one in the sane mind would choose the time of their death." "You may not believe me, but it's true. The soul also chooses itself and the way of death, and sometimes this choice is made in advance, even then she or he arrive on earth. But even in this case, everything can change at the last moment. You young and earthly souls, are so unpredictable." Death smiled and continued her story. "There are always several possible sinners, or ways how it may happen. I would even say that there are hundreds of possible. Each of our steps, words, actions change the current reality, bringing us closer to the concrete. You speak too confusingly, and I don't understand you. There was no more anger in the voice of the soul, but was the curiosity. For a moment Death thought and then said, "Have you ever seen yourself in a dream, but like another version of you, for example, married or already with your family and children, although you haven't even been dating anyone yet? Or maybe you saw yourself working in a specialty other than yours?" The soul thought about it and then answered, "Yes, sometimes I have such dreams, but I never understand why I dream about them and why are they different. It's like they're talking about me and they're showing me, but it's not me at the same time." A very good remark. But these dreams are both about you and not about you. You see your different versions in your dreams. For example, one of your versions can now live in Japan and the other in Los Angeles. One of your versions may already be happy in marriage, and the other has decided to devote her life to asceticism. The soul listened to the story of Death, bewitched, opening its mouth. "And how many such options and versions of me exist?" "Oh, there are a lot of them. I would say even 1,000, if not more. And which one will eventually come? It depends mainly on you, your thoughts, actions, and words. You create the thread of your own destiny." I told you all of this, so now you would also realize that, like life, we also choose death. Sometimes, at some point, the soul says that she is tired and chooses to give up. And some souls choose painful and terrible ways to die in advance. But what is that for them? Why do they choose like this? Sometimes souls choose a painful or even a violent death to earn so-called bonus and rise to a higher level in the next life, or to work out a debt or some lesson. And some souls will make a long path of their past incarnations or their past lives, accepting their death. What does it mean? This means that if many of your past lives or reincarnations were burnt alive at the fire, even at a certain age, then if you do nothing to change this scenario, then your life can at the same time end. For example, you can die in a sudden fire. The words of Death put goosebumps on the body of a young soul again. After all these words, it's even harder for me to believe that you don't want to hurt us. I understand. And if you are not evil, who are you? I am not a man, I am not a woman, not a god, but a spirit that helps a person on their way to a new life. I can take any forms. And how do you do it? When it's time for the soul to leave, I come to her and help her to leave the body and become free. Death. And what awaits us after life? It's an interesting question, and I know it worries many of you. I think that each of us will get what she believes in and deserves. Many, of course, will have the next life, and some will not be able to return for various reasons. If everything you say is true, why did my grandmother die? Your grandmother's soul has chosen this path, this end. You earthly and young souls are used to looking at death as something bad, but death isn't eternal, a hard-working labor, punishment, or pain. On the contrary, it's complete freedom and liberation from pain, fears, and everything that stacked us when we were on earth. Your grandmother was seriously ill, and she suffered hard. She was unbearably hurt to get rid of this pain and become free. She decided to live. It was her conscious choice, and you should accept it, despite the fact that it hurts a lot. By the way, your grandmother's soul is already free, and soon she will return onto earth again. And maybe you will meet her again one day, even if she won't be your grandmother anymore and you won't be her granddaughter. Thank you, Death. I, like many earthly souls, was wrong about you. Forgive me, please. Thank you. You asked me why I came to you, although I usually watch from the outside. I wanted to pass this knowledge on to you so that it would help you feel better. I ask you to bring this knowledge to the world and help other souls see me from my true side. Thank you, Dev, for all your vulnerable knowledge, your wisdom, your help and kindness. Thank you for helping us on our way. I want to tell you about 2 more things before I leave you, and I ask you to remember them forever. Of course, I listen to you carefully. Treat life as the greatest gift and enjoy every moment. A moment, whatever it's a day with the friends, a starry night, a passionate night of love with you loved, or a new day you have met. And secondly, never be sad about the death of you or your loved one. Thus, you not only spend too much energy there, but also stop them and yourself from the incredible adventure that awaits you ahead. I promise I will remember your words. Okay, and now I'm saying goodbye to you. After these words, the long dress of death rustled in the night and it disappeared.